Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from the second day of the Singapore Fintech Festival. And joining me for this segment, we have Amit Ghosh. He is the COO of the APAC region with R3. We're going to take a look at digitization of assets, a very hot topic being discussed at the conference. Amit, it's great to see you as always. Let's talk about this concept of digitizing assets, because it seems to be that everyone's talking about it at this conference.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for having us here as well. But digitization of assets is what we see as a huge trend for R3 and the work we do on the Corda Enterprise platform. What's happening is not just old assets which are somewhere digital are getting digitized and more efficient, but we are seeing assets which were illiquid getting digitized as well, right? And that's really the new trend. And the reason that's happening is, for the first time ever, blockchain platforms can provide the technology which enables that, helps you manage risk better, helps you manage the cost and time required for post-trade settlement better. So we see a huge trend in digitization of assets. I think from R3's perspective, two quick examples to illustrate what's happening in the world. Right? So the Swiss Stock Exchange, which is a traditional stock exchange, has now decided to build a new age digital stock exchange, which will cater to not what we know as old school assets, but also the crypto assets or any new assets which are coming up. And they're using Corda Enterprise to actually do a lot better, faster post-trade settlement and clearing. So we are seeing a lot of application of our technology in that space. The other example, which is on precious metals, so a company called Tradewind is using.
I know Tradewind.
They're using Corda Enterprise again for trading, settlement, and post-trade functionality. So I think we see a lot of applications of blockchain technology in digitization. In Asia Pacific, you will see that trend a lot. The Asia Pacific region has been big on crypto originally when Bitcoin and Ethereum and others launched. But more and more, the private enterprises, the banks, the corporates are starting to use platforms which are more private, like Corda Enterprise, to actually digitize the assets, sometimes within their own house. If you are doing a treasury solution within your own house, you can digitize what is cash and make things seamless and efficient. Yeah. But sometimes for industry applications as well. So we are very bullish.
Let's talk about the collaboration with regulators and central banks, because particularly in the Western world, in the US and Western Europe, that is a big roadblock for institutional adoption. How are you working with them, and what's your outlook on that?
So we in our origins have the premise that when we started off as an ecosystem of banks in 2015, we actually started talking to regulators right then, not right now. Right? And the reason we did that is we knew the importance of having regulators to first understand, then experiment, and then take things to production. We knew that their approval and their buy-in is required for this technology to see the light of day. Right? So we have been involved with them. And this festival, for example, is a huge testament of what forward-looking regulators are doing. So MAS, for example, has been on his Ubin journey for almost 4 years now, and we have been part of that process with them for over the 4 years. And we see, in the vicinity, you see Bank of Thailand doing similar stuff. You see HKMA in Hong Kong doing interesting stuff as well. And it's a process of education. Then you get your hands dirty by experimenting a little bit, and eventually you feel comfortable as a regulator that, look, this technology has its merits, it's something breakthrough, and it can actually help the industry, so let's commercialize and productionize it. So we believe in working with regulators very, very closely, and we have very close relationships all over the world, especially in Singapore as well.
And to wrap up, the growth of blockchain application in trade, which makes sense. I mean, anything that has contracts back and forth, and you're trying to manage logistics and supply chain and from farm to table, if you will. I think the application makes a lot of sense.
Totally, and I think there are three interesting flows in the trade world. There's the information flow, there's the financing flow, and then there is the actual goods flow. So we have seen digitization of trade happen 10, 15 years back, but there wasn't the technology which was available to really bring all of these things together, or even multi-party in one of these flows together. So what we are seeing is a huge shift from building digital islands, which was the story of digitization in trade 10, 15 years back, to actually bringing those islands together and interoperate. So in Corda, for example, we allow various different trade platforms to collaborate far more seamlessly. And so we see a huge trend in financing flows being enabled first, but then very quickly, the farm to table concept or supply chain and logistics flows getting enabled on the back of it. And yesterday we announced one of our flagship partners, Project Voltron, yes. Incorporating in Singapore. And again, going back to the point of working with regulators, the reason we are doing that is we see trade being important to the Asian context, but also we want to find a home for these companies where the regulators are forward-looking and they're pushing the boundaries. So huge potential for trade, and we are very, very bullish.
All right, Amit, great to see you as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining me throughout the day from the Singapore Fintech Festival. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.